Good evening, my friends. Today, I'm going to bounce back to the parable of the prodigal son. And I feel like I just finally understood the entire meaning of this parable. You know, we focus on the prodigal son, we focus on the return, the mercy of the father. And then I was even focusing on the elder son, how um, you know, he wasn't having compassion on his brother, but he was, not understanding. But then he still had the grace to come back in. But I missed this part right here. And I want to point out something. Luke 15, verses 2 and 3. And it says, "And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, This man receives sinners and eats with them. And he spoke this parable unto them." But think about this preface. Luke 15, "The Pharisees and the scribes are murmuring, saying, This man receives sinners and eats with them." And then when we go back down to verse 20, starting in verse 25, "Now his elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Your brother is come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he has received him safe and sound. And he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him." And what I wanted to show you, and I don't know, maybe I've shown this, maybe other people have talked about this, I don't fit, but it felt like a new revelation to me today. Thinking about the Pharisees saying, we're not gonna, why does he let tax collectors and sinners? Why is he eating with these people? And then I was looking at this, and Jesus is telling this parable, and he's like, the elder son, he hears this music, he hears these people rejoicing, they're happy, they're having a dinner, kind of like these sinners that are eating with Jesus, and um, and he was angry, and he would not go in. So what's important to see is that the Pharisees, in the same way, they wouldn't go in with Jesus, okay? Because of who he was inviting to be with him, who he was welcoming in to the feast, okay? Now, the father was throwing this feast for his younger son, or his son. Oh, no, it says he was the younger. His father was throwing this feast for the younger son. And the elder didn't want to go into the feast because the younger was a sinful man. You know what I mean? I'm not going to eat with that sinner. He wasted your money. He did this and that. He's a sinful person. I'm not going to eat with him. Do you see it? And it's interesting how the Pharisees, they kept themselves out by who Jesus let in. They kept themselves out because of who Jesus was letting in. Just that's what this parable's trying to say. Don't keep yourself out because of who I'm letting in. Okay? You might not understand who I let in, but don't let that keep you from coming in and enjoying the feast. Okay? Don't trip over who I let in. Okay? You just come in. Don't worry about who's here. All right? Let that be the word that speaks most loudly to us. Because in these times, in this last hour, I really believe it's going to look bad, but it's going to be amazing. Because God is moving in a way where he's making himself known, and the people who are coming in, and it's always been this way, the people who are coming in, it's going to keep a lot of the other people out because they're not going to want to come in to be with us. But amen. You know what I'm saying? Amen. Let it be so. Let them keep themselves out because of God's grace towards us who are unworthy of it. Amen.